tonight's performance. So I'm very, very pleased to have you here. Thank you for coming all this way. And a warm welcome, Chris Bullen.
Thank you. Hello everyone. Hello Roger. I haven't seen you for a long time. It's a pleasure. So in my past life I was national badminton coach for 10 years, and for the last 13 years I've been working for the government organisation, ending up in this role for the last 3 years. So saw Roger many times on the badminton circuit. It's a pleasure to see you again. Peter, thanks very much for the invitation to come. The reason I chose to leave a very hot New Zealand summer and come to a very cold winter here was simply the chance to learn. And so one of the most important things about the work we're doing in New Zealand is embracing the need not only for people to learn but for our organisation to learn. So very open to sharing, very open to feedback. Actually, you won't need to give me any feedback because my wife is here with me. We have a daughter in London that we're going to visit after this. So my wife is here for the first time. She's watching me at work. And we've been married 35 years. I can tell you I don't need your feedback. Okay, so there's the purpose, but my real motivation is to spark thinking, because I think it's thinking itself which, in a learning organisation and with people who are learners, that is really at the heart of what we do. And on the way, yeah, we'll talk about horses and aeroplanes and chickens crossing rivers. So thanks very much to Paul who mentioned one of New Zealand's greatest legends, Sir Edmund Hillary. And in 2008 we used Sir Edmund as the inspiration for our Olympians. This is the New Zealand part of the Beijing Olympic Village. And I'm not sure if you can read that, but he simply points out that it's not the mountain you conquer, it's ourselves. And when I think about the work we do as leaders and coaches, you know, we coach people, we lead people, not sport. And if I continue the reference to Sir Edmund, really his greatest achievement was to do something that people hadn't done before and show the way and create the belief that it could be done. Because at the very highest part of Everest, there is a pathway that's now called the Hillary Step, which seemed to be impossible, but he made it possible. But that wasn't his greatest achievement. His greatest achievement was the legacy in Nepal of building hospitals and schools. And when you think about what we're doing, the great achievements of our elite sports people will be nothing compared to the legacy for young people to be healthy and active in sport. And part of the motivation for what we do in New Zealand is to leave a legacy that may be picked up wider than sport, in education, in schools, in society, about how to develop and maximise human potential. But if you think about the Olympics, imagine if climbing mountains was an Olympic sport, and 2 months before the Olympics, Hillary climbed Everest. I think it puts him in the line for the gold medal. And I understand, I hope I'm right here, but I understand a Swedish snowboarder, is that right, has completed a new trick and that nobody else in the world has done. And if that's the case, then I think maybe that's a very smart strategy. And congratulations to him or her. So Air New Zealand believes the same kind of philosophy. They don't fly aeroplanes, they fly people. And they are an award-winning airline. many times recognised by the International Air Transport Association for the quality of the service. And they spent a long time trying to discover their competitive advantage. What is their winning point of difference? And after months and months of research, they came to the conclusion that the one thing that Air New Zealand could do that no other airline could do was be Air New Zealand. And so they understood what was significant, what was the winning point of difference about being New Zealanders. And that's the reason when the All Blacks are trying to win the World Cup, they paint their aeroplanes. And when you get on board Air New Zealand, who sponsors the All Blacks, you're supporting the All Blacks, whether you're from Sweden or whether you're a Kiwi. And when Sir Peter Jackson makes fantastic movies like Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit, what? Let's paint that plane as well. And not only that, when you have safety video, you know, the safety videos on the plane, well, you can see the World Cup winning head coach on the right, Sir Graham Henry, and one of the living sporting legends, you won't know him, Richie McCaw. He's a saint. So they're in the safety video. And, of course, from The Hobbit or Lord of the Rings, I'm not sure which. But that's the safety video. And who appears in the safety video but Sir Peter Jackson, of course. Actually, that's the New Zealand Winter Olympic team, I think. Heading to Sochi, ready for anything. So Air New Zealand understands its winning point of difference. And I think it's the same for our sporting system, to understand who we are and what drives us and why we are. And so one of the things that I'm pleased to say is that although of course we are conscious, like any good All Black team, we are conscious of the opposition, but we study ourselves. Okay, very brief background, and there's the agenda. Now, in New Zealand, we're used to dialogue, conversation, and one difference I notice is that the audience here is very quiet and respectful. And if you would like to be a Kiwi, then any time put up your hand and ask a question. We'll stop and answer it, because I can't possibly understand what is most important to you. And more like any good coach, what is more important than what I want to say is what you need to hear. So, be a Kiwi, I will enjoy that and we will learn more. Yep. Paul, most Americans don't know this. I was lucky enough to. I travelled with my wife for 3 months in the US years ago in a very old Volkswagen. We call them a Beetle. You call them a boat. Yeah, we slept. We took out the back seat and we slept in the back and drove in the front. And most Americans think New Zealand is somewhere between here and north. So this is a huge advantage. In life, nobody wants to destroy New Zealand. It's not important. Nobody cares about New Zealand. Fantastic. To come here is 30 hours by plane. And so it costs about 16,000 krona just for the airfare. So that's an advantage. Because only the keen people will come as athletes and coaches to take on the challenge of winning Olympic gold medals. It's an advantage, not a barrier. Our nearest competition is Australia. That's about 3 hours by plane. So it's serious business. If you want to win, it's going to cost you. But we know that. We have 4 million people. We know America has more. We don't care. We don't care. We know the challenge. we accept it. If you don't accept it, don't start. So, like Sweden, New Zealand's a beautiful country. What's important? Well, this is the most important. You can play 12 months of the year. You don't need buildings. Just go outside. It's a little bit cold in winter, but you can do it. And we have done it. And we will, I hope, continue to do it. Lots of people playing sport. So we have a talent pool. Why do people come to work in New Zealand and be paid less money? Because it's a great lifestyle. We're very, very lucky. So we use that. So Joran, where's Joran? Yeah, he's coming. He's coming for a little while. I think probably about 10 years, actually. Because we will take him to all these places. I said, what? Why will I go back to Sweden? I should stay. Yeah, I'm not joking. And, sorry Paul, but you probably know this, but in the 1980s, we said no to America. They said, we're coming to visit with our warships. We said, are they nuclear free? They said, we won't tell you. We said, but your friends. They said, we don't care, we're not telling you. We said, sorry, you can't come. We're nuclear free and we're proud of that. Okay, down to the serious business. So, is it worth listening? Let's look at what we've been doing. So who gets the credit? Well, actually, we don't care who gets the credit, but we must acknowledge. In 2000 and 2004, it's about individual athletes and their coaches. It's not about the system. In 2008, it's about the athletes, it's about the coaches, and a little bit about one or two sports. It's not the system. In 2013, I think it's a little bit about the system. So, take care. Take care, we're not experts here. This is just my view. I haven't done lots of research. I've just worked in the system for 13 years, and this is what I think. Paralympics, the same but a little different. You know that Paralympics is becoming more and more competitive. It's getting harder to win, and so probably 2012 results are about some good work and talent identification done by Paralympics New Zealand. We're not looking at this and thinking anything. This is just a foundation. It means nothing, it's year one. But it's a foundation, so that is useful. Okay, so I've paid credit to the athletes and coaches. That's number one. But I think also that I think this is very important. And when we look at ourselves, and I pick up on your remark, you say we have cracked the code, Peter. We haven't cracked the code. Nowhere near cracking the code. But you know, because we're small and we know each other, and because we can build trust, it means we can make hard decisions and still keep relationships. Of course, it's not perfect, but it's working a little bit. And because we have a very small talent base and we have a small amount of money, we have to be innovative and resourceful. We have to be. It's not an option. It's a way of life. And as I said, when you spend a lot of money just to come to compete in Europe, you have to be tough. You stay a long time, like Joran is going to stay a long time in New Zealand. He will need to be tough and resilient. It's part of our culture. And Paul was talking about that, and I think David as well, talking about resilience. So resilience is something that's part of who we are, and I suspect it's the same for the Swedes. you know, money is a threat. Because we are helpful people in sport. You know, it's about people. And where we see need, we will help. And the risk is that we will give money where we should hold money. And ensure that self-reliance, independence, resilience is developed by our young athletes. But we risk changing the culture, albeit with good intentions. And success is a threat. Just ask Australia. You may remember the table from 2013. Results this year. 2 places below New Zealand is Australia. In 2000, Australia won, I didn't do this preparation, so someone might know, 56 medals or something. New Zealand got 4. So Australia right now, they are working very hard to understand what has happened. They went like this very quickly, and they've gone like that very quickly. And so that is a good lesson for us. Okay, so this may be what Peter's talking about, or maybe it's our winning formula, the only country in the world. If you do the mathematics, for every sheep, yeah. You're the only country I will share this with. It's the sheep dollar investment ratio. This is a very important slide, I think. Probably the most important. It's simple. So you add this structure where we know who we are working with. And the culture, we know each other. And I think you have powerful potential. But you must also be humble, because in the end, look what happens when you spend money. Okay, very briefly, let's look at High Performance Sport New Zealand. And then we'll stop and think. And maybe for 5 minutes be Kiwis and ask some questions. It doesn't matter, if you cannot read all the words, it actually doesn't matter. The only important thing really is that High Performance Sport New Zealand, which supports 14 sports, employs about 100 to 110 people. It's a very big organisation. And its mandate is to lead and invest. The powerful part of the organisation is down the bottom. Aha! I'm lucky enough to work here. Coaching, performance planning. It's a small team dedicated to ensuring that our athlete campaigns are well planned. And this is our work with HP directors and leadership. And I'm very lucky because those three dimensions, those 3 aspects, working together is very, very powerful, potentially. We're still working it out. And the role for the Olympic Committee is very clear. At Olympic Games time, the team, they select it. In the village, they arrange the environment. And together, High Performance Sport New Zealand and the Olympic Committee and representatives from the 14 sports, one planning team, we're planning for Rio. So So what do you think? If you just have a chat for 2 minutes. This, I know my colleagues have used this. This is just a simple theory about learning, that if you stop and think and talk, by talking you will expand your understanding of what you've been hearing. So 2 minutes, then we'll ask for questions. We have a Kiwi in the front row with a question.
Yeah.
Are you happy to ask a question?
Oh, okay. Yes, we were discussing, and we were looking at the chart you had up earlier. The amount. We were looking at the chart that you had up earlier, and the amount of medals. Apparently, New Zealand has increased the amount of medals, and we were wondering if this has also increased the amount of different. If the athletes themselves are more motivated to win different. For example, Olympics.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for the question. So, New Zealand's culture is one of, I think, we typically are very humble. So we will, it's not our way to think big about ourselves, which is nice. Well, we like it. So even the All Blacks, they talk about the All Blacks. They want great people. They have a policy, if you know it, if I can say, no dipsticks, no dickheads, no dickheads. It's not a good word, but I mean, why do you want to be the best of the world playing with people who are dickheads? So, but part of in sporting terms, part of the consequence is that sometimes we lack belief. But what is happening now in New Zealand is that belief is growing, because in 2000 there were 4 medals from 4 athletes who are superstars. And really what that said was, these 4 athletes are different. It's not us, we can't do this. But actually, we're talking about hard work, not talent, and that's what we understand. I think I'm an example of that. If you Google Chris Bullen, I'm not there. I haven't done anything. I've just been working a long time and learning slowly. Any other questions? Yes, another Kiwi.
I was in Dublin a few weeks ago and cried
2 minutes into injury time. But I'm wondering where that resilience begins. To keep going to the 82nd minute and listening to Richie and Steve Hansen after the game and them saying they never doubted that they could do it. Where does that resilience begin, and how is that built?
Yeah, to be honest, I don't know the answer to that question, and I must say that the All Blacks are different, because the All Blacks have been winning and winning and winning for years and years and years, and they have a culture which is unbelievable. It is so powerful. So the player is smaller than the team. The All Black team, it's not about the All Black team, it's about the All Blacks, the community of All Blacks, and it's about New Zealand. So that belief where if you belong to something greater, or you believe in something greater, you're more powerful. That's the All Blacks. And what I hope is that Team New Zealand, are you aware of the America's Cup? Yeah. So you will know, for New Zealand, that was a sporting tragedy to be so close to beating Larry Ellison. But we didn't. The whole country is not working. Stop work at 8 o'clock in the morning, 8:15 actually. 8:15 every race day, the country stopped and watched. We We're leading 8-1, and we lost 9-8. But you know, I'm hoping that Team New Zealand will become a powerful brand like the All Blacks. Already it is very, very good. And I'm hoping that High Performance Sport New Zealand will become like this. But we are nowhere near that. So where it comes from, I don't know. Researchers will probably have a better answer. Any other Kiwis? No, just Swedes? Okay, so performance driven. How do we drive performance? Well, first starts with vision. It's easy. Okay, moving on. Second, goals, medals. In Rio, 14 plus. We would love 16. 2016, 16 medals. In 2020, we would love 20 best players. But our target is 14 medals. Paralympics, 8 to 12 gold medals. Gold medals. For Sochi, we're just a young Winter Olympic country, so we hope for 1 medal. Maybe Jossie Wells, freestyle. You also see number 3. You see our aspiration. I know. We'd like to be one of the best. It's a very humble but inspiring aspiration. We were well aware you cannot achieve that without sustainability. So when you see our results going like this, it's a risk, because you can think this is easy. And right now our biggest challenge, it's like the Team New Zealand challenge. You know, how to go the next step, it's about sustainability. So currently we invest for now and not for the long term so much. And this must change. And how do you do that? It's a difficult proposition. Wow, look what's happened. What this says is we have twice the amount of money and now half the sports and half the people. That's performance driven. And what that means, because we're small and we know each other, that we have to tell personal friends we are not investing.
Did you only have 17 million sheep in 2006?
Thank you. There's one more Kiwi for sure. Okay. Yep, we're looking very carefully at our campaigns. Of course, everyone is tracking. But what are we interested in? So what we know about New Zealand is, if you are not on the podium 1 year out, probably, well, till now, you are unlikely to win a medal. But that's just results. That's not opinion. That's just fact. Okay. Now you can see, from 1 year out, gold medal to any medal, 83%. It's a powerful statistic. Why that is, we don't know why. But I suspect because we have a small group of very, very, very talented athletes. So I think you understand the slide. Yep. But look at this. Look at the opportunity for New Zealand. So, that's our big question. How do we improve the conversion rate from bronze to a medal? We don't know the answer. Okay. This is the Kiwi performance pathway. Across the river, on the bridge. So, this is one of our, I think, most important sustainable strategies. And because we're small, and because we appreciate the importance to have the alignment between the CEOs, the HP directors and the coaches. We want the shared vision. We want a common language where we can talk the same things and understand each other. We want to be clear on our priorities. This is critically important. And when you will know this, that when the coaches and the HP director are not aligned, you know what happens. And if the HP director and the CEO are not aligned, you know what happens. So we're running leadership programs with working to the same models and the same principles, and the same language, but they're organised completely differently. Maybe in Sweden you've done the same things. We spend a lot of money on databases, on hardware and software and you name it. And we gathered information. We gathered rooms full of information. But you don't use it. We didn't use it. The Australian Institute of Sport, they have libraries of information. They shared it with us. They said, would you like it? We don't use it. You see, information is useless unless we use it to drive our thinking and to drive our decision making and to drive our action. And until you take action, you don't learn anything. So this, Peter, I didn't want to share this. I didn't want to share this slide really. I think this is very, very important. Yeah. So this is what we're doing now. Like Air New Zealand, studying its competitive advantage, we are studying our athletes' campaigns. And from the study of the past, we understand for New Zealanders, we think they're critical success factors for gold medals. And what we are doing now, just beginning, we are benchmarking every athlete campaign in real time as they perform and as they learn, and they are very kindly sharing that information. And that information is being looked at very carefully, and the learning from all the New Zealand campaigns is analysed and then it's shared back to the sports and the athletes. So we're tracking results, we are tracking their language, and we are tracking their behaviour. And it is incredible what it tells you. We're just starting, so please be clear, we haven't achieved anything with this, but we are excited about the prospects.
Excuse me. Could you, the track process, could you just give an example how that works?
Can you repeat the question?
How does the tracking progress work?
Yeah.
Obviously all the results of our athletes are analysed. So, we understand in relation to our competitors where we stand. We've started a process, only just started, but after every pinnacle, every peak, the information from the campaigns, the debriefing information is shared with us. So it's a very big step. It requires a strong degree of trust and collaboration. And when the information comes in, we look at what the behaviour and language used by the people, the athletes and coaches and support staff in that campaign. We look at what that tells us. We know something about the language and behaviour of the gold medalists. And we know a lot about the language and behaviour of the people who did not win medals. And so we're starting to look at what the patterns tell us. And we can feed back that information to the campaigns about how they track against language and behaviour. So, for example, I mean, we all know this, but the gold medalists, they operate in small, what we call tight teams. Maybe 2, 3 or 4 people. Huge levels of trust, huge levels of skill, experience and knowledge. The campaigns of our non-medalists, they are generally bigger. The roles are less clear. It's more complex. And they talk about different things. And so the point is, we're trying to help our campaigns move from this side to this side by understanding the differences. When I talked about leadership, so our leadership program for high performance directors, just 14, we started this year. Every single high performance director decided to join the program. We have all of them learning together about themselves. This is it's a transformational leadership program. Can you imagine the opportunity? Every sport, the leader collaborating. As a result of this program, they have decided to share their information about their athletes, about their programs with us. It gives us the opportunity to learn. Finally, so we're still thinking about performance driven. So the research tells us that culture is 8 times more powerful than strategy. And your biggest competitor is a bad culture. It's not Australia. So, high performance sport New Zealand. The words don't matter. The words are not important. But what we did, 110 people came together and said, yes, we'll do this. We'll build a culture plan. And then every team built its suggestions around the culture. We brought them together. We developed a draft plan. We brought everyone back together, the whole organisation, and we said, okay, this is the plan. And now we will monitor behaviour. And we will try to deliver a performance culture. So it's not the words. The words could be lots of things. It doesn't matter. But it's the fact that we're trying to build this that I think will be useful.
How do you manage behaviors? Or monitor behaviors?
Yeah. Well, it's like any sports team. You know, when you debrief after the match and you talk about what's happening, who did what was great, what wasn't. So we simply do the same thing ourselves in our teams, and we have the permission. If behaviour is not aligned to the plan, we have the permission, starting, we're not expert in this, to talk to people about that. Tell me how your behaviour fits with our culture. And so we gather examples, and we share the examples of how we are working to the culture. It's the very, very beginning. So there's no exciting results from it. But we are driven by performance, so we are doing this. And I'm hopeful that it will produce big results for us. Okay, so that's the piece on performance driven. If you'd like to take just a minute and share your thinking about those slides. And I think, actually, let's do that. So 1 minute, quick chat. Any questions after that? Thank you. Great, moving on. So, we only have 10 minutes. So the athlete focus part, we'll leave for today. Athletes, of course, are the most important. In terms of focus on athletes, I think most systems, it's obvious. You need to take great care of the athletes and their training environment. And so I think that's, in terms of what we're doing, I think that's of less significance. It's difficult to say that, but with 10 minutes, my job is really about coaching, and I'll love to talk to you about what we're doing in coaching, so I hope that's okay. Okay. So, if you talk to our CEO about our priorities, every single time he will say that coaching is the #1 priority. And that is a very important aspect of his approach. So, I'm lucky enough to work with a team of 6 highly experienced coaches and psychologists who support coaches. And you can do the maths. 6, 14 sports, maybe 2 sports for each, and if they're smaller sports, maybe a third sport, and a small number of coaches. They're very challenging roles because we work with the HP directors to help them with their plans to recruit, to develop, and to retain. But we also work with the individual coaches. And sometimes, I think, like if there are psychologists here, you will know if you're working with a coach and working with the athlete, sometimes it's a very difficult position to be in. So, can you put up your hands if you're a high performance director, please? And a sport, is that the right word? Sport performance director?
Yeah, it's sportchef or similar in Swedish.
Okay, thank you. Well, right now I'm talking to you. I'm talking to you. We are making progress after 2 years in New Zealand for high performance directors to really make a difference in coaching. And so I think it's within your control, your power, to understand what coaching really is about, to understand the environment that gets the best out of coaches, to understand what it will take to develop them, to understand what it will take to retain them. We are making progress in New Zealand, but it's not quick. But it's in your hands. You have the power to change this for your coaches. And you have the power to adjust your budget and to prioritise full-time coaching. And maybe to make decisions that you have never made before. It's our belief that unless you are full-time coaching, you make the job of helping athletes get on the podium extremely difficult. So we believe that most of the learning that you do as a coach is on the job. You must be coaching to learn. And when you are on the job, you need time away from the job to reflect and learn. if you want to maximise coach performance. Most sports don't do this. Some of our coaches are away more than 200 days a year. It's not sustainable. You cannot learn to your maximum if you are working like that. So we appreciate how difficult it is, but that's the challenge for high performance directors. And for coaches, we believe that you're leaders and that you lead your campaigns, and you are accountable and responsible for ensuring the best opportunity for your athletes. But you are also accountable and responsible for working with your high performance director in a way that is helpful and constructive, and for working, if necessary, with your CEO to get the alignment, the shared vision, the shared priorities, the shared language being on the same page. When we were doing the culture plan for High Performance Sport New Zealand, we learnt many things. We learnt that support staff did not believe that it was critical for coaches to lead. We learnt that coaches leading as real leaders is something for the future. It's not happening yet in New Zealand. Of course, with some coaches, but not all. And so our work, we have the dream for coaches and we have the reality. And our work is about closing that gap. So you can imagine with the culture plan, I will show you the slide later, but you can imagine when 110 people in High Performance Sport New Zealand believe that coaches lead and they prioritise time to help coaches develop the capability to lead. It will be an extremely powerful thing for coaches. So we provide support. Through the Coach Performance Program. So Coach Accelerator is a leadership, it's a coaching leadership program. The Coach Campaign Leadership is about leading people for 2016 or 2020. Leading the people, leading the planning, leading the performance analysis. It's a lot of money for coaches. 90 to 100 coaches. It's a lot of money every year for their professional development. And we run workshops and seminars. But all the themes, all the thinking is integrated throughout all the programs. Because we are working to what we believe. But Joran tells me maybe to speak a little bit about our Coach Accelerator program. So, it takes, this is a great exercise. So, there are some words about the program, but in a way this is what the program is about. This is the first camp for the Accelerator coaches. So here's the objective, like any athlete, get on the podium. Here's where you start. It takes 2 days to go from here to here. And what's the point? It's about self-awareness. Sir Edmund Hillary said, it's not about conquering Everest, it's about conquering yourself. And when you cannot pull that horse onto the podium, and you can't pull an athlete onto the podium. So coaches describe this. In 3 years of work, they describe the horses as the best teachers. And unless our coaches have self-awareness, unless they are open to learning, then you have a struggle. And so we choose to work with coaches who are open to learning. And then, if we remember Paul's message about hard work, anything is possible. Six coaches. It's a small number. Why is that? Because if you want real change, then you must be honest with yourself and others around you. And so 6 coaches, you can build trust. Deep, deep levels of trust. And on our learning from the first coaches through the program is that this is one of the most important things. Because on the job, with your colleagues, in sport, busy, it is difficult to have these moments. But the real legacy is it's not the coaches who are in the program now. So I think next year will be our 6th year. It's about 36 coaches who have been through this incredible experience, and they have a strong friendship, a strong bond with their fellow coaches, with our coaching program, and with New Zealand. But by 2020, we will have 70 coaches who have done this. And 70 coaches who are all different, but they speak a common language, and they understand the same principles of leadership and coaching. This is a very, very powerful group. This is where we will sustain coach performance and development. It's not from us. It's from the community of coaches who are prepared to share and learn. And so what we see now is coaches moving into the environments of other coaches and learning and sharing. That will be our future, I hope. Pete, I'm short of time. I realise. Okay. Yes?
Short question. How do they qualify to come into the program? How do you select the coaches to come there?
Yeah, it's a recruitment process, so you must be selected. You put your name, there are 2 interviews, we talk to your athletes, we talk to your coaches, we talk to the HP director, we talk to everyone. If you're not a learner, you won't get in. Oh, sorry. So last slide. Again, the words don't matter. But this is our commitment in High Performance Sport New Zealand. Cool. So I'm sorry about the athlete-focused piece, but Peter, thank you very much for the opportunity to come, and thank you all for listening.
Much, Chris.